Welcome back, boys. Week 11 in the books. We had a much higher scoring week this week than we've had the last few weeks. But a whole lot of playoff implications on the line, a whole lot of classic fantasy drama. So let's get into it. First game up. Yours truly, Texas Size 10 Fours, rolled to another victory. That is our fifth straight by a big score, 197 to 140, catching our third Kiffin of the year. See how we were able to do it. Christian McCaffrey looking good as always. Nice 23 points. No one on our team was in the single digits, which when you do that, you're just going to get points quick. Our lowest scorer was James Robinson with 11. And we also were able to set the tone early in the week. New England on Thursday night coming in, absolutely dismantling the Falcons. Defense getting a nice 35 points to start the week off. And then follow that up with a wide receiver tandem of Devontae Adams getting 30, and then Elijah Moore, one-day contract, also putting up 30. Helped propel us to a win. We now have the two highest Kiffin Award scores of the week, or of the season, and we keep first place for the East heading into rivalry week. But, we're not getting cocky. We've learned our lesson because the first two Kiffin Awards we had this year, we got cocky with them, and then we played terrible the next week. So we're not going to let that happen. We're going to humbly accept this and move forward.
So if you have the two highest Kiffin scores this year, then this would then be the second highest points in a week in league history, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure of that because I hadn't updated the data sheet yet. So I just wanted to make sure of that. But for Coop here, 140 points. I mean, not really a bad week. Just kind of ran into a juggernaut this week. Aaron Rodgers, highest scorer on Coop this week, as he was able to put up 39 points in a shootout against Minnesota. Don't ask me how that game ended. I don't want to talk about it. But he had some good scores around here as well. Myles Gaskin, one of the first times Coop has put this man in the lineup, and he hasn't put up a dud. Trust me, we know we've got Gaskin in another league. We hate when Coop puts him in because that's normally not good for us. Tyreek and Keenan Allen both putting up 20 points. Coop's wide receivers were really showing out this week. And then you get down here towards the end, Cole Kmet, you can't really rely on the Bears offense a whole hell of a lot, so that's not extremely out of the ordinary. Jarvis Landry had a good game. But the real surprise of the week here, Buffalo Bills defense, former number one defense in fantasy, not anymore. They got absolutely steamrolled by the Colts. And you really never want to have a 30-point spread between your team or your player and another person's player going head to head. But if you see that on your defense and special teams, that's a recipe for a bad week. So that was the big shocker of the week, I would say. The Buffalo Bills defense just looked awful.
That was most of the spread between us, to be honest. But yeah, that makes it tough. You rely on the defense week in, week out, and they let you down. All right, second game up. Noah and DeezeNuts coming in, putting up a new season low with the Lemp Award of 78 as they fall to the trophy namesake himself, Pams and Lemp, score 139 to 78.
This is a swiper award for Lemp too, am I correct?
Yes. This is also Lemp's second swiper award of the season.
Okay.
Thanks for pointing that out.
So this is a solid. I just wanted to make sure. This is a solid win here for Lemp, as he had to sub out Lamar Jackson right before the game started, as he was not able to go with a non-COVID related illness. Jimmy Goat Garoppolo was able to sub in pretty nicely, 20 points. Can't be mad at that. It's somebody who you're just picking up for a day. The big story here for Lemp was his Vikings players. Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen both had a day against the Packers, as they both put up at least 20 points each. And then going down the board, I mean, you just get like solid scores here from just about everybody. 10 from Devonta Smith, 12 from Kittle. Kirk wasn't able to really get going in the Cardinals game, but that really didn't seem to matter in this matchup. But yeah, just the big one here, Nick Folk, 16 points from a kicker on Thursday Night Football really set the tone for this one. And again, another big spread that we see here on a Buffalo player, as Tyler Bastemouth was not able to get any points this week. And solid win here for Lemp as they once again have an opportunity to make their first playoff run here.
Pretty big spread on their defenses too.
That's another big one.
That was the one Minnesota player that didn't show up with their defense, it looked like.
Yeah.
Flip side for DeezeNuts here. This is a really tough loss for them. This was a major battle for playoff contention, and they let it slip away with the worst performance of any team this season. And yet it's still more than double what Pams had last year. So just to put that into perspective a little bit. Dak with only 5 points. That's going to hurt. They had 5 players total finish single digits, and no one got over 20. Saquon made his return, but he only got 10 points. They kind of got killed by the Buccaneers. And then Michael Carter, who he's been using as a key replacement as of late, he only got 8 and is injured. Now, this team is getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire back 1 week too late, but that's still a big loss for them. We'll see if they're able to cover because they now have an uphill battle to climb to get in the playoffs after dropping this one. All right, third game of the week. We have the Philly Cheekles with a monstrous 172 to 153 victory over the Cleveland Steamers. This was another game with major playoff implications, as these teams were also tied for a wild card spot. And for the Philly Cheekles, it really came down to their top 2 players. Top QB of the week, Justin Herbert, 42 points. Beautiful day. He gave a great interview on Pat McAfee today, opening up for the one and only Aaron Rodgers. And then Jonathan Taylor with the monster of monster performances, 57. That is good for a new league record, folks. So the rest of the team did okay, not great, I would say. But when you have your top 2 playing that well, it's likely going to carry you to victory, and that was the case for them this week. And now this team is in unfamiliar territory. They are 1 win away from their franchise personal record, and the playoff spot is currently theirs to lose. So we'll see how they're able to handle that adversity.
This was a fucking tough game, dude. First things first, though. We win with grace. We lose with grace at the Cleveland Steamers. We're a classy organization. We do want to give major props to the Philly Cheekles this week. They really went out and just played a better game than us. They went out and won this game. I don't feel like we lost this game in any way. I feel like the Cheekles actually just went out and took it. Once you get 2 guys that combined for 100 points, essentially, it's going to be a tough team to beat, and they made themselves a very, very tough team to beat this week. So we want to give them major props. Best of luck to you, Blake, rest of the way throughout this season. Now, we do have a couple things that we want to get off our chest really quick so that we can, put them out there and then we can be done with them. First things first. The threshold this year for a victory has been around 150 points. No team this year has lost putting up 150 points, except for us. We've lost twice putting up 150 points. So that fucking sucks. Second off, I felt like everybody played their ass off this week. Nick Chubb, 25 points, played his ass off. Joe Mixon, 25 points, played a fucking great game. Deontay Johnson, 22 points, was awesome on Sunday Night Football. Terry McLaurin, 22 points. He played a great game. And everybody else really played their role this week. Oh, yeah, I forgot to shout out James Conner. 20 points, he did his job this week. Every single person on the team did what they needed to do, except for our fucking team captain, Patrick Mahomes, 10 points. In our 2 biggest games this year with major playoff implications against the other wild card teams we've been playing, first game against Noah, Mahomes put up 9 points. That game was within reach. We would have won that game with a standard Mahomes performance. And when I say standard Mahomes performance, I'm saying like 30 points. That's what I expect from him each and every week. This week, we also win this game with a standard Mahomes performance if he puts up 30 points. We would have squeaked it out, but we would have won it. It's just very, very frustrating that these weeks have happened, the weeks that they have with a major game on the line. This isn't us saying we're not mad at Mahomes. We're not pissed off at Mahomes. We're just a little irritated with when these games are coming. We don't expect him to be some superhuman. He's a human being. He's going to have some bad box score games and everything. But we really need to get him back on track if we're going to be able to make any sort of run this year, and everything. He's going to have the week off this week. He's on bye, but we need to get him back on track. We can't be having these duds in these major moments anymore.
Very well put. It's hard to rally the team when the team captain's letting them down. All right.
Well, that's why we got other guys, though. So
fair enough. All right. Fourth game of the week. Leeroy Jenkins extends their win streak to 7. They got Mega Flames now. They've had him for a week. They protect him. This was also the least surprising result of the week, as the first place team defeated the last place team. Leeroy Jenkins 155, FaZe Kev 100. Solid day from Brady. Pretty usual stuff. He's just had a great year all around. Big scorer for them, though. Justin Jefferson, 39 points versus the Packers. Everyone else, for the most part, except for Kyle Pitts, chilling in the teens. Just a recipe for a solid week. Make yourself hard to beat. And they keep themselves rolling. They now clinch the West Division for themselves and hence a playoff berth. And talk around their count is starting to heat up. We'll see if they're able to protect it as we get in the playoff season here.
Yeah, Adam did clinch. This will be Leeroy Jenkins' franchise first ever division title. So big congratulations to them. That's definitely quite an accomplishment within this league. Division titles are very hard to come by. Looking over at FaZe Kev, broke 100. That's a start. You know, this team has really been going through it this year. You can see it with the 1-10 record. It's something. Really, the only person who showed up at the office this week was Austin Eckler. Scored 4 touchdowns, 40 points, almost put up half the points for the team this week. But you start scrolling through here, and what was it? 5 single-digit scorers, and you have a negative from the kicker. Just not anything you want to be seeing from your team. Also, in the tight end spot, another goose egg, as this will be back-to-back weeks. FaZe Kev has put up a goose egg in that spot, as TJ Hawkinson did it the week before. Just again, for FaZe Kev, it's just it seems to be kind of like a broken record at this point. We come on here, we make kind of the same points with them most of the season. But they're gonna have a chance next week playing against Cleas Mafia, their rival, to try to right the ship going into the toilet bowl so that they can hopefully not have to jump into the lake for a second straight year.
All right. Fifth and final game of the week. It's going to sound very similar to the game we just had, but we had Francy Feast with a nice 149 taking down Cleas Mafia with 84, and this was the battle of the losing streaks. Francy Feast came into this one with a 6-game losing streak that they have now ended. Cleas Mafia's losing streak after this one extended to 5. So let's see how Francy Feast was able to pull it out. Kyler Murray and Derrick Henry going down was obviously a big blow for this team, but for this week at least, Jalen Hurts stepped up and filled that QB1 spot that he needed, getting a nice 35 points over the Saints. Also, big Mike Evans day. He put up a nice 20 against the Giants. And then Matt went with the classic 2 tight end system this week, and it worked out pretty nice for him. He had a nice pretty much 20 from Waller and then 28 from Zach Ertz. They're able to get the win, and they end the losing streak. Now a small chance of hope for a playoff spot even. Or, I'm sorry, not a playoff spot, but for a consolation spot. We'll see if they're able to get it. They still got work to do, but this was the first step they needed, and they got it done.
Looking at Cleas Mafia over here, kind of a very similar game script to that of FaZe Kev. You had DeAndre Swift, one of the only people who showed up, as he put up 22 points. And also the 49ers defense that they picked up off waivers. I believe it was on Sunday or Sunday night. and they got 20 points. But again, same thing with FaZe Kev, same thing that we've been saying about Cleas Mafia for the past couple weeks now. What is everybody else doing? And it really wasn't a whole hell of a lot. We had, very similar to last week, 5 single-digit scores. And also, he had 2 players, you see Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs there, who were 0.3 or less points from being a single digit. So essentially a single digit score. When you have around 7 people scoring single digits, it's going to be very, very hard to win any game. And if we keep scrolling down onto the bench, it really doesn't get much better. It's still single digits pretty much everywhere. Russ just barely escaping single digits. And then once you scroll all the way down, like the defenses for Cleas Mafia showed up, even on the bench, but just single digits all around, not a recipe for success. Same thing with FaZe Kev. They're going to be able to, they're playing one another next week. Somebody is going to have to get a win between those two. Hopefully for whoever that person is, it is going to be a kind of a righting of the ship going into the toilet bowl, because one of these teams has to start getting some momentum to hopefully seal their fate so they're not jumping in the lake in cold January, February time.
All right. And that does it for us this week. Peak of the standings. Schedule for next week will be revealed later tonight at 7 p.m. as we do the Rivalry Week preview video. So stay tuned for that. Nick, any final thoughts on this past week before we get off?
Nothing crazy. Just remember to stay tuned. We got Rivalry Week coming up. Should be the most exciting, most fun week of the year. I'm very excited for it.
All right, boys. That's it for us. Remember, stay tuned. Part 2 Rivalry Week preview later tonight. And we'll see you then.